All right, so I want to welcome everyone. First, a few housekeeping items. I want to make sure that everyone has their mic on mute. If not, we will be placing it on mute, so please don't be offended. For any questions, please post those in the chat. There will be Q&A offered after each segment. If we do not get to answer yours, we will follow up with answers and post those to the webpage. This training is being recorded and will be available on our webpage within 48 hours. So this is the second of 8 trainings being offered before the application opens. Today's training is going to be on new construction, code compliance, renovation and addition, and planning and design, and the application types. Christy Tafoya, who's our contractor, is going to be leading the training momentarily. These virtual training sessions are designed to provide you with the knowledge and tools necessary to successfully apply for the 2026 capital outlay funding cycle that starts January 8th. I think yesterday I mistakenly said January 9th, and it's January 8th. It's on a Wednesday. I do remember that. Christy, if you don't mind sharing your screen, that would be fantastic. Or if you have already, I apologize.
Can you see it?
Yes, thank you. Can everybody else see it? Yep. Great. So since joining the team in late April, we've been busy working on establishing open communication with you and your facilities. At any given time, the team is working on 20 to 30 projects each day, reaching out to you either by phone calls or emails to see how we can help you get your project to the finish line. This last application session, we had 167 applications that were either started or submitted. Of those, 105 were scored and moved on to our ICIP. Since July, we've presented at 2 hearings before the legislative session has even started, which will be on January 21st. We also assist, let me go back for the January 1st for the legislative session. For those that want to follow, we will be keeping a section on our webpage to kind of identify any bills that are going to be have anything pertaining to senior centers. It's also really important to know that we coordinate emergency funding requests for senior facilities. We've seen a lot of those come through, and they can vary. They're usually for smaller items, but they can lead to bigger things. We've had ice machine requests that have broken down. We've had cars that have been involved in accidents. So there's quite a few things that we can assist with. There are some things we cannot, and we always are happy to answer those questions. But always know that if your senior center is facing an emergency, something that wasn't planned, don't hesitate to reach out to one of us. If you can go to the next slide, please. And this is our staff. This is our way of making sure we can connect with you. You can find our information also on our webpage. I will post that momentarily in the chat, so that way you have that. Please bookmark it. But this is our information. So currently I'm responsible for PSA 1, which is Bernalillo, Albuquerque. And then Stephen Lacey, our newest capital projects coordinator, will be handling PSA 2 and 3. Lori and myself are working with him to hand over those. Lori Zuniga is our PSA for 4, and Consuelo Montoya is for PSA 5 and 6. So if you guys want to screenshot this, this is our emails and our work cell numbers, and you can get a hold of us and ask us any questions that are pertaining to your senior center. Okay, and then if you can go to the next slide. I think, Christy, this is you. So if we could all welcome Christy.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Christy Tafoya, and I'm going to be helping walk you through the application process today. We're going to be talking about the new application portal for aging and long-term services through Bonfire. We're going to talk a little bit about fiscal and facility information that you will need to include for all of your applications. So we'll run through that. And we're going to be talking about, I think I have vehicles and equipment applications. So if you could just pause for a minute, let me make sure I get the right PowerPoint. If you could just hold on just a moment.
We just got these approved today, so we apologize for the delay, but this gives everybody a chance to get that chocolate or the rest of that coffee. Christy, you're on mute.
Thank you. Sorry about that. We will be talking about planning and new construction, and we will be talking about a lot of our other opportunities with regard to renovation, code compliance, and that kind of thing. So now I'll pass it back to Tasha about what the application should identify.
So for the criteria, okay, so you want this one. Sorry, I was at that on another
That's
slide.
okay. That's okay.
So we want to make sure that in the past or getting directive from DFA and LFC, they're requesting that planning is really considered and we're looking at phases. So as always, we need to make sure that there's a process identified for planning. We know that at times facilities are not necessarily in line with communications to speak with their fiscal agents, but this is a way for us to make sure everybody's on the same page, from your fiscal agent to the senior center to the governing body or, executive who's going to be signing that certifying memo. So we want to see that there's a planning process identified. We also need to see that there's a need for immediate action or action. This could also pertain to safety or code compliance. You will notice as we go through the application process, we will be asking if it's code compliance to identify that. You also need to be able to show us the need for funding, if this is going to be a matching or if this is going to be solely the only funding you'll be receiving. We always want to get those projects that are ready, project readiness. Now, working with the municipality, I'm not sure if many of you know, I used to work for the city of Las Vegas and I was a library director. And so the library, the senior center, and the rec center were always the last ones to get to be put on the list for an ICIP. So it's nice to see that there is specific funding set aside just for that. But we need to make sure that the project is ready to go, that there's been some thought put into it. And again, that leads to the ability to complete the project. We want to make sure that we're setting you up for success in what you're asking for. So this will be a time to work with your community and identify what your project is going to be and if this needs to be built out into various phases. Next slide. For the criteria selection, this is really important. So, all of it's important, but the capital outlay enlists 3 different teams to review your applications. So we need to make sure that you're providing a well-detailed application that clearly shows a need rate for the highest. And that could mean that we're going to have a really strong narrative. Those are always great for us to understand what your facility needs and give us a visual of what this funding will allow your facility to do for your senior centers. And then we need to see that there's going to be a plan. As I mentioned, we need to make sure if it's phases. I do want you to know in this section for the planning and design, new construction, and the final application, they're going to be split into 3. Previously, you could kind of apply for all of them all at one time. Now we're going to specify that you're either applying for planning and design, new construction, renovation, code compliance, new addition. We want to make sure that those opportunities are going to be phased out because the likelihood of success is going to be higher. So we're going to be requesting timelines so we can see those timelines for completion and the ability to complete the project, as well as we are still going to request quotes and required documents. Okay, go ahead, Christy. You're on slide 7.
Great, thank you. So the application categories, as you just mentioned, Tasha, planning and design, new construction, code compliance, renovation addition, being kind of pushed together into one category. And we talked about vehicles and equipment and meals and equipment yesterday. For just a little bit more of the top line information, with regard to planning and design, this is the area where you have an opportunity to request funding to help you with determining what the next steps are going to be in your process, what your project pathways are, what the timelines are. If you're doing going to be planning for construction, this is where you can have your maps and drawings and engineering information, and you can hire folks to come in and help you with that whole planning and design process. For new construction, this category actually talks about new construction, new buildings, new facilities, and it also includes equipment and furnishings as part of your request. And then for renovation, code compliance and addition, this is for any remodels, any kind of addition that you are interested in doing with your facility. This is where your code compliance could come in, where you might have some issues, tripping hazards, potential fire hazards, and regulation compliance that you're trying to address in this particular area. So, Aging and Long-Term Services will be transitioning to Bonfire, which is a software platform that is built out to streamline capital projects, contracts, requests for proposals, and this is what capital outlay will be utilizing to acquire your applications. This process, as Tasha mentioned, will be beginning in January 8th, but we wanted to give you enough time to really understand what this process is and why it is important. The change has been made for Bonfire to try to streamline things, not only for you, but also for capital outlay staff, in order to better communicate with you and in order to have streamlined application processes. I know that Tasha and her team have felt that it was very important to reach out to you as applicants and also to reviewers to determine what changes would need to be made to the application process. So Tasha, did you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, we did hear you guys. We heard repeated comments about some of the lengthiness of the questions. We've tried to streamline those. Sometimes asking less questions is helpful, but we have removed the subject matter expert forms. But we've also removed some of the facility questions, asking how much your utility bills were or any of those things. We still are asking how many people you're serving, seniors you're serving, and if the size of the facility, but we felt that the subject matter expert was just too difficult to obtain in all parts of the state since we're a very rural state. Now, by streamlining, we did add about deferred maintenance. This was a question that came up in both of the hearings asking what type of implementation are we saying for deferred maintenance. So we need to make sure that as your entities are getting funding, that there's going to be budgeting set aside for deferred maintenance on either the new building or equipment or vehicles. The evaluation process is going to be streamlined as well. Once you complete the process, Christy will be showing you, you will be able to see that you've completed a section and you haven't left anything incomplete. We will also be able to review. We're going to have a longer timeline to complete the application review process. I hope many of you noticed that we've gone back to the original timeline, which was in January, going through May. This will give us enough time to be able to review and reach out to those applicants who may not have completed the application correctly or have given us some information. I will note that if you're requesting funding for new construction and you have not done any planning, we will be getting in contact with you to have you apply for planning and design. We want to make sure that your projects, again, are being phased out. So you may be applying phase 1 will be planning and design. Then the next year in 2027, you'll apply for new construction where you'll start that. That might be for one phase and as we continue, because we want to make sure that all of our applications ultimately go to the scoring stage and we help you get past that finish line and complete all of those projects. You'll also get notification and agreement process. So that's going to be, we will be keeping you in the loop, not only through your application section of identifying what you've completed and where you're at within the process. But going through, this was the first year that we actually made contact with all applicants who submitted an application, whether theirs was moving forward or the next steps if theirs was not. We want to make sure to continue with that. In fact, for this last group, we will be keeping them posted, and we'll have a section on our webpage that's going to list all legislative bills that pertain to senior centers. Thank you, Christy.
Sure. You will also be provided with an application manual. This is going to be really important because it will be a resource for you to have the step-by-step instructions and screenshots of actual pages of the whole application process. So you will have that at your hands, information on saving and uploading, and resources for more information. So we're hoping that this will be a really important resource for you. Okay, so as I said, we're going to be talking about the applicant and facility information. We're going to be talking about planning and design. We're going to be talking about new construction applications, as well as renovation code compliance in addition. So those are the topics that we will be walking through today. So at the very beginning of this whole process, we walked you through how to register as a vendor. So there is information on the Aging Capital Outlay website as to how to register as a vendor, which means that you are an applicant. I know that doesn't always jive with what you might think of yourself as an applicant, but you are indeed an applicant that is a vendor. Once you have signed in, you can log into your Bonfire account with your email address and your password and click Login. When you do that, you will be provided with project information. So each county is divided out as a project. So you can see here, this is an example of Bernalillo County, and this is an application for senior centers. This provides all the information with regard to timing, how long the application is going to be open for. It has a reference number, and be sure that you see that it is the Capital Outlay Bureau. And then this also indicates that what the project is about, provides a description, and ensure that you have the right county, that you are included in the right county. And I'll be showing you that your facilities and your senior centers are going to be lined out in each county. So that'll make it a little bit easier for you. The important beginning steps of this are that you download application question sets. All of your individual application information is going to be contained within these question sets. So you will see at the very beginning, when you log in, you'll see what's going on, what are the important events, and then supporting documentation. And these are all of your question sets that you'll see. They're separated out into different files that you will need to download at the beginning. So for example, you see this fiscal and facility information question set. You'll need to download that. You'll need to download that for all of your applications. No matter what, you need to have this information. If you're interested in meals and equipment, you would download that question set. For the purposes of today, we're going to be talking about planning and design, renovation code compliance and addition, and new construction. And you'll need to download these. Okay, I'll reference back to this quite a bit throughout this training. When you download a question set template, you click on download. Then what you will do is download to the right corner of your computer, click on download, and click on enable editing on that. Okay, and it looks like we have a little bit going on in the chat.
We do have one question. They're asking if they apply for 3 categories, will they need to complete 3 fiscal and 3 facility information question sets?
No, we've actually worked that out so you won't have to do that. will be nice. And actually, if you're an applicant and you want to apply for different senior centers in different locations within a county, you'll be able to do that as well. That's something that Tasha and I are working really hard on so that you don't need to keep including your applicant information. You're welcome. And Tasha's right, make sure to bookmark our webpage. Okay? So download it, just like downloading any other document, and save it. And then that will allow you to fill out the question set. And then I'll be talking about how to upload that in a bit. You want to save it. Save it to somewhere that you can find it easily, okay? And make sure that you put in your senior center within the title of your file. That will help you. That will help the folks who are evaluating your application so that it's very clear. They will land in these specific areas, but it will make it a whole lot easier for tracking purposes. So you would want to use the project type. So what kind of project are you going for? What are you applying for? Meals and equipment? Are you applying for new construction? An identifier and facility name and the file name. Okay? All right. So this is where you get to select your what are called decisions, which are your project types. So what I have for an example here is actually a Bernalillo County test that we've been working on, and you can see the facilities, which is for this particular example, Borellis Senior Center, and we also have a little bit of Bear Canyon here. And then what the services are, those are your application types. So meals and equipment, new construction, planning and design, renovation code compliance edition. What you will want to do is you'll want to click these boxes. When you click the boxes of the applications you're interested in applying for, this little blue check mark will appear. So then you will click to upload your files. Okay? The nice thing about this is that you don't have to save. Things will be saved automatically for you. And you will find your saved application under work in progress. So under submissions, there's a work in progress button, and you'll push that and it says a work in progress submission. And then you'll go over to actions and you'll be able to edit your submission. So you won't lose your information that you've worked on if you have to step away. So that is one benefit here. You can pause and return later. So the first set, question set, and there's two question sets that are related to this, is the applicant and facility information. At the very beginning of that, you will need to fill out your requested information, which identifies your applicant, your title, your name, your basic facility information. You'll have to fill that out. And that won't be in a question set form. That will just be some rows that you will fill out at the very beginning. You also have to provide a few uploads as well, and we'll talk about those in a minute. The important thing with applicant information, you will need to fill this out. You see the little red dots here? Those mean you have not completed a particular area. So for the applicant name, you need to put your name in and click the Save button. For the applicant title, you'll need to put your title in and click the Save button. When you click Save, things will turn green. For the uploads for applicant information, you're going to need to upload an e-signature or letter memo. And you can see that's been done here. That's a file that's been uploaded, so it's green. Your current ICIP, you upload that file, and that turns green as well. And the history of your facility, you upload that file and that turns green as well. We'll be talking a little bit more about that in a moment, but it's really important that you save as you're going through. Okay? So next, you'll be completing questionnaires, question sets in Bonfire. So this is the fiscal and facility information question set. And you'll see that the instructions will pop up for you. We really request that you look through these instructions very carefully. And at the bottom here, you can see you're looking at instructions. That's why it's white. And then you'll also see these numbers 1 and 2. There are 2 different question sets that you're going to need to fill out with regard to fiscal and facility information. And that's what we're going to be talking about. This is the fiscal certification question set. This is an example that we've filled out for you so you can see what it looks like. Please provide your information under response, this response column, and if needed, under the comment column. You will have opportunities to complete drop-downs with yes or no answers and comments, or you will be able to provide text. So for example, is the current budget filed with the state auditor? This response is yes. And when you fill out the response, this column here that says status will move from incomplete to complete. You can see that there are also questions related to, is your operating budget approved by DFA? Yes. Explain in the comment box. You want to make sure that you have submitted quarterly, monthly reports to the Department of Finance Administration. You want to provide your current ICIP with the number, and you're going to have an opportunity to download that, upload that, I'm sorry. And then did you want to talk, Tasha, a little bit about certification and fiscal agents? I think that might be helpful for you to talk a bit about that.
Yeah, so we want to make sure that we have added some information, and that's to help us better know who your fiscal agent is, so who we may need to reach out to. So the difference between the certifying individual is going to be your legal representative or those representatives who can sign and bind an agreement that there's, and this is the reason for this is, again, goes back to the planning. It's to ensure that everyone is on the same page of what's being applied for, so that way there isn't any surprises. So we are requesting that regular upload, that certifying official memo. That hasn't changed at all. The only difference is we will be requesting it for each application type because it could be different. So please bear with us as we try to figure out a way that you can upload one comment or one certifying memo for all, but for now it will be for each individual application. And then as well for the fiscal, we're trying to make sure that we're identifying who's responsible. So if we are having any issues with NOOs or payment requests, we're going to ask for that individual's name, their contact information, email, phone number. And this is, again, just to make sure that everyone's on the same page. It's not to highlight anyone, but to make sure that, again, we're helping you get past that finish line so your project can get completed and we can help our seniors. Thank you, Christy.
Thank you. The second question set you will be filling out is facility information. So this is all of the information that you can provide to the Aging and Long-Term Services Department about your facility. It's important to include all of the contact folks, their emails, who owns the facility, and you'll have the opportunity to fill that out. What sources of funding were used to improve the facility in the last 5 years. You know, that's something that's important for the evaluators to know that. If you've had past funding, that is a critical piece, and what repairs have been made in the past. What's the size of your facility? Is the location accessible? They are also requesting history information about your facility, and you have the opportunity to provide more in a upload. And then, you know, is this a facility sufficient in size? Is Is it important that the project manager has been assigned to this project? That's really critical that you have somebody that can follow through from the facility side to make sure that whatever you're applying for, that they can work through that and make sure that they're tracking. So you can see here, this particular question set about facilities had 23 questions because all of these segments were filled out and are green and say complete. You can see 100% complete here at the bottom of this question set. Once you're done with those 2 question sets, you'll go again to the bottom of the main page and you'll see summary. And so I would highly recommend you check your summary to make sure that you are complete with no errors, 100%. Okay? So that's critical for all of your applications, to have your applicant information, your fiscal information, and your facility information. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about planning and design. When you go into the planning and design area, you will see that there are several things that are going to be required of you. These include the planning and design question set that we talked about that you will need to upload. That's the thing that's the file you uploaded into your computer and that you worked on and you saved it with a really clear title. That's what you will be uploading here. There are also other uploads that will be required under the planning area, as well as the potential for optional items. When you see a yellow button here, that means that it's optional. Red buttons mean that they're required. So we'll talk a little bit about the question set first, okay? So much like the original one that you saw with the fiscal and facility, you have instructions for planning and design. We highly recommend that you read through all of the instructions as they relate to the question set and how to fill it out, but also have some information about the application itself. Review all instructions and select, you can see this highlighted in yellow, question set 1. There is just one question set for planning and design. And this is an example of what the question set for planning and design will look like. It is really, really important, as Tasha mentioned earlier, that you are very clear on your project summary and narrative. This is the critical piece of each of the coming question sets because it's very highly scored, 50 points out of 100. It's the place where you can make the case for your project as to what it is, why it's important, why it's critical for the seniors in your community to have this project occur. For the project summary and narrative, there will be instructions next to the actual question, and you have the opportunity to fill out the project narrative in this column of comment. This is exactly where you need to put your narrative in here, and there's an explanation as to how to make paragraphs within this particular column in this box. And you can see this is a mock narrative that has been put into this box, and that it has been completed. The questions with regard to planning and design that we want to call out to you today, not only the project summary and narrative, talking about previous request summaries. One of the big things that is important to note is, have you had some previous requests with relationship to planning, and how much did you get and when did you get it? Have you met with your elected officials to get their support for this project? Did you request funds for a fully functional phase, which is the planning phase? So is this enough money to help you with all of the planning that you need to do? What's the total project cost? And what is the amount of this particular request? And then it breaks down to the cost for the architect or engineer that's projected, the cost for if there's a renovation planning component, what's that cost? What's the cost when you're trying to plan for code compliance, and what are the steps you're going to need to undertake for that? As part of your planning, are you going to be including measures for energy reduction? And did you upload any construction plans that might be related to this planning, and applicable quotes and cost estimates? You'll also have the opportunity to talk about optional items that you are including as part of this application. So you can see there are 19 questions as part of this question set for planning. And you can see that this is 100% complete. I'm going to stop right here to just see if there are any questions on the questions for planning and design.
I think we're good.
Very good. Then I will move on. Once you're finished with that question set, you will see your summary. Again, you can go to your summary tab and ensure that you are complete with no errors. And again, save the questionnaire. Always save your questionnaires. I'm going to repeat that quite a bit through this. You will then go back to your planning and design overview. And this is the question set area where you will need to upload your file for the planning and design question set. You will also need to upload any construction plans that are tied to your planning. You will also need to upload your applicable quotes and cost estimates as related to your planning project, as well as any optional items that you are interested in. Once you see all green, you remember these were red and this was yellow. Once you see everything is green, you are good to go and you have completed the planning and design application. And Tasha is saying congratulations to you on that. Okay.
Insert confetti.
And insert confetti here. We'll now move to the new construction applications. Again, the overview for new construction includes the question set, as well as several different uploads that will be required and optional items. You can see these are red for the required uploads and yellow for the optional. You'll be given instructions as to what this application is all about and how to fill out the application. Make sure that you review all instructions. And again, very similar to the past examples, you will see number 1, that's your question set, and that's what you will need to tap on. The new construction question set, I have this divided into 2 slides because there are a lot of questions when it comes to new construction. Again, you will be asked at the very beginning, what is your project summary and narrative? Again, this is weighted for 50 points. You will be filling out your response in this comment box, in the comment column, and provide all of the information about the new construction, why it's needed, how it's important to your community. And that's your opportunity to make the case for new construction with regard to a senior center. Will planning and design be required for this project? And if you've gotten out ahead of the game, which would be really terrific, has planning and design been completed? And this actually is scored for 10 points out of 100. So if you are ahead of the game with planning and design, and this is a phase 2, then you have that opportunity to talk about that. What's the firm that completed the planning and design? There's also a question here about a previous request summary. If funding was requested in the past, what is the status of that? Have you met with your local officials? Again, this question is ensuring that you've had that communication with your local officials. What's your timeline for completion? And you'll see that that's for scoring for 10 points. So having that planning and that timeline consideration for new construction is really critical. Do the requested funds complete a fully functional phase of this project? What's your total project cost? And what is the amount of your request? And you can see that the amount of the request is scoring for 5 points. You'll have the opportunity to break down your cost estimates for your architect engineer, for the actual construction itself, if there's a renovation component that's tied to this, if there's code compliance that's tied to this, or if there's another phase that is tied to this as well. Energy reduction or energy sustainability. That question is asked, and it's pretty specific with regard to building envelope, roofing, HVAC, lighting, water fixtures, solar power, etc. We would like you to fill that out and explain that as well. The other important point of this is your fiscal agency prepared to provide ongoing maintenance and repair? And you can see that that's scored for 10 points. And it's important to consider that, because if you are asking for funding for new construction, it's critical that you are able to, and your entity is able to, maintain that particular structure. And what are your plans for budgeting for that down the road? Did you upload all of the different items that are asked with regard to new construction? Did you upload that there's budget commitment for the ongoing maintenance and repair? Did you upload your construction plans, if applicable or available? And did you upload applicable quotes and cost estimates? And here's the opportunity for you to upload additional items like photos, renderings, other types of information. I'll stop at this point to see if there are any questions about the new construction question set. Okay. Anything else you wanted to add on this, Tasha? Okay.
Find my mute button. Really quick, so I know this seems kind of straightforward. We are looking at an opportunity to provide an option to see it live. That way you guys can get your hands on it a little bit before. We are working on that. Hopefully we will be able to have something available. So just know that as we go through these, the instruction manual will go step by step. So don't be afraid that these will be recorded, but you will have that instruction manual to take you step by step. Thank you, Christy.
Thank you. So again, you will see your summary, and you'll see that this particular question set of 19 questions is 100% complete, no errors. And save that questionnaire. You can see that this one is an example, new construction, New Mexico Senior Center. And then you need to complete the overview piece, where you have the opportunity to upload your question set, upload your budget commitment, upload your construction plans, upload your applicable quotes and cost estimates, and upload any other optional items. And this is where you upload in this area right here. And you can see we're all green and we're 100% complete. Okay? Renovation code compliance and addition applications. This is the overview for renovation question sets and uploads. You can see we have some red buttons and our yellow button for optional. Red buttons are for required uploads, and yellow is for your optional items. Again, you will have the opportunity to review renovation, code compliance, and addition instructions with information as to how to fill out your question set. Again, question set number 1 is highlighted here in yellow at the bottom. The renovation question set, again, I've divided this into 2 slides. Again, your project summary and narrative is worth 50 points out of 100. You will be filling out your comment box, making as much information available to our evaluators as to why this is an important project, what it will entail, why it is critical to get this project completed, why renovation, addition, or code compliance are critically important to this particular senior center. Does this project address a code compliance finding, and what is that finding? Question 3 is, what code violation was identified? Question 4 is, will planning and design be required, and what are the different areas of renovation or code compliance that are where planning will be critical? Has any planning been completed? And again, that'll put you a little bit ahead of the game. It's worth 10 points out of 100, but this is really important to be thinking about what kinds of planning you do need and who completed that, what firm completed that. Question 8 is, what is the timeline for completion? Again, that's scoring 10 points, thinking about how long it's going to take this renovation or code compliance project or addition. Have you asked for funding in the past? And if you have, how much, when, and how far along did you get with this past funding? Renovation information, when was the last renovation completed for this project? And have you met with your local elected officials? The other questions include things like, will the requested funds complete a fully functional phase of the project? What's your total project cost? And again, you have the opportunity to break down your costs. The amount of the request is scored at 5 points. And then you will be able to lock down what the architects and engineers have said and what their cost estimate is projected at, what the cost of the actual construction and renovation will be. You can have the information on code compliance, what that will be. Are there measures for energy reduction? And again, are you able to provide the ongoing maintenance and repair that's related to this renovation, code compliance, or addition? And did you upload any construction plans, quotes, and/or cost estimates, or your other optional items? So you have 25 questions. Again, you'll see this particular example is all complete. We're 100% complete. Here's your summary. You can see we're 100% complete, no errors. Save your question set. And then you'll go back to your overview page where you'll have the opportunity to upload your question set, your budget commitment to ongoing maintenance and repair, your construction plans, your quotes, your cost estimates, and any optional items. If everything is all green, you are good to go. The last step in this whole process is submitting and finalizing. When you have uploaded everything, you will be directed to step 3, submit and finalize. You will be clicking on this box right here that will turn blue that says that you understand that you can't change anything once the project closes. So you will not have the opportunity to change it. And you click on submit and finalize my submission. When you do that, you will receive this receipt that says that you are confirmed that your particular project has been submitted, and this is your reference number. And you will also receive a confirmation email.
Confetti.
Ta-da!
So just so you guys have a timeline, so we have the online training that's going to be available. We started in November with the bonfire registering as a vendor, and we will proceed with our trainings through January 2025. Application again opens January 8th, 2025, and then it'll close 3 months later in January, February, March, yes, in April. And then the committees will start reviewing and recommendations of the applications. Remember, don't lose sight that if we need to reach out to you, we will. We want all applications to move forward, but we want to make sure that we are helping you succeed in these and that these will get past the finish line to project readiness and completion. And then, of course, these applications our recommendations are given to our cabinet secretary in June, and then we start the process over by submitting an ICIP, legislative sessions, hearings, and then we keep you guys informed on your projects. Is there any questions right now? Okay, if you could go to the next slide, please. This is a list of the application trainings that are going to be available. Don't worry, these are on the website, so please don't hesitate to reach over and bookmark our webpage. Again, each one of these will be recorded and posted on the webpage within 48 hours. The manual is being wrapped up, so know that Christy has worked very hard to get a very visual and step-by-step instruction manual for you as we move to this. If you haven't registered on Bonfire as a vendor yet, that's what you are as a senior center, as Christy has mentioned, please make sure and go to our webpage. There are instructions step by step, and there's also the link on how to get started with a video. If you have any questions, again, don't hesitate to reach out to one of us here at the team. We're ready to stand by and give you assistance. And if you're not sure what to ask, don't forget to join us for our technical assistance hour, which is on every Wednesday from 3 p.m. till 4:30. You can also find that link on the webpage, or you can also see it on each of our signature lines. If there isn't any further questions, Christy, thank you so much for presenting, and I want to thank everybody for taking time out of their day to attend, and we look forward to seeing you guys soon and seeing your applications. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.